This might be a little difficult, but we'll find out.
Hello, this is Mike.
Mike, Henry Eisenstein, how you doing, buddy?
Who is this?
It's Henry Eisenstein. We spoke about.
Oh yeah, I'm under contract with somebody, sir.
You already accepted another offer. Okay?
Yes, I did. I did it. I did that. Yeah, because there was an issue with the rebuilding process with the township. You got to do it within a year or so. There was a guy that I was dealing with way before anybody else. The original guy. That's who I went with.
Gotcha. I feel like we've been following up with you for like 2 years. I mean, is there any other off if I can come in higher than they previously were? Because I think they were at like 135.
It's already out of attorney review. If anything happens, I'll let you know.
Okay. Did they come in at 135?
Actually, 1.4.
1.4. Okay, yeah, because I have my guys at 1.45 right now. So
Okay, well, I'll definitely keep that in mind.
okay. Thanks so much, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Crazy. I've been following up with this guy literally every single week for I can't even tell you how long.
Hello.
Yeah, hey, Mr. Garrett. Yeah, hey, it's Henry. We spoke about 6 or 7 months ago. You're building a. How you doing?
You said what?
I called you a couple about 6 months ago or so about your apartment complex that you have in Texas. How you doing?
Just fine.
Good. So I wanted to give you a call. My partners and I are going through a 1031 exchange, and I wanted to see if you'd be totally against hearing an offer on the property.
It's a tax credit property, and it's got a lure involved and general partners and all kinds of stuff. So it wouldn't work for your 1031 exchange because you can't get it. You'd have to pay everything off, and that wouldn't work for you, I don't think.
Gotcha. I mean, I know we've bought similar types of properties before, and it hasn't been an issue in the past, but I can understand that. I mean, do you happen to have any other apartment complexes besides this one?
Yeah, we've got several, but they're all tied up in tax credits. And I like I say, I don't know how you 1031 exchange into a tax credit property.
Yeah, I mean, we might just be able to only get the 1031, not the tax credit, and vice versa.
Well, that means you got to pay off the credit buyers and everybody else. You got to pay off everything.
Well, look, I mean, I also, look, we also run the syndication fund, so we buy deals all the time, so we don't need to use our 1031 if necessary. I mean, is this something that you'd even consider selling for the right price?
Yeah, I'd sell it.
Okay, do you have a price in mind that you consider selling it for?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
Would it be best for me to just put something in writing and get it to you, or what would you?
Probably so. I mean, I can send you the latest financials, and then you can make a back of the napkin offer, and we can decide if we want to go further.
Okay, that would be fine. Is this number your cell?
Yes, it's my cell.
I'm texting you right now. Saying, hey, Kelly, it's Henry. I'm telling you my email. If you could just forward me something, I'll run some numbers with the partners, and
I'll
we can
forward you the latest financials on it, and it'll have all the rent rolls and everything else on it. So.
Awesome. Sounds like a plan. And then we'll take it from there. Sounds like a plan.
Okay. All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kelly. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye. So this is a 100+ unit deal in Texas. We'll see what happens. First time I called him, he said I wasn't interested. Thanks, and hung up on me. But he was the right, after I confirmed that he was the right owner and everything else like that. Hopefully we can get something done. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. So
Okay.
so my guy wanted to come in at like $200 a foot with a $16 a square foot triple net lease back. Where was this guy at price wise?
He said he needed to be at $250 a foot, and then it would be dependent on lease back terms.
Got it. You want to give this guy a ring?
Put that in front of him. Yeah, let's do it.
Because the other good news though is that like we can probably get my guy could probably come in at like 220, 225 a foot, but 250 is going to be tough in this market.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Give me 1 second. We pulled this number.
Yep.
With that Jeremy on the line.
Yes. Hey, Jeremy, how you doing?
How you doing?
Doing great, thank you. So I just want to get in touch with you. I know you're in touch with Aiden in regards to some terms that you feel like if we could get there, you'd be open to the idea of possibly selling the building.
And again, I'm getting a lot of feedback.
Yeah. So, anyways, I know you were in touch with Aiden in regards to the possible idea of selling the building with the leaseback terms, if everything made sense. So I got in touch with one of our private equity groups that we work very closely with, and I just wanted to at least ballpark some terms with you if you had a few minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah, and again, I'm not actively trying to sell. You guys called me trying to solicit something, and I told him, you guys said that you felt something at 175 range. I told him it was too far apart.
Yep. Yeah, look, 100%. I understand you don't need to sell it. I'm very aware. This is more so if the terms make sense, maybe something will happen. Right.
But again, I'm not looking for spaghetti ball. I mean, if you have somebody that's interested, come also come and I'll take a look at it.
Okay, I'm just saying, hey, look, I know that you had randomly thrown the idea of like a 250 a foot range, correct?
It's not random. I've gotten multiple offers at 250 and above. So again, I'm kind of caught off guard here because you guys are trying to solicit me in terms of doing something, and I'm not in a spot where I'm looking for it. But
that's fine. I'm just trying to put something in front of you, and look, you can say no all you want. That's fine. That's all. I understand.
Okay, so put something in front of me and then we can talk.
Okay, I'm just saying, like, if we got 250 a foot, is that even something I know as you said that you've received it. So like I don't want to put something in front of you that you think that you're going to be like an absolute no to, you know?
I've got the private equity people in terms of the sale lease tax have been, up close to 300. So I've had it's been a hodgepodge of things. People want to move in quick. People then want me to wait back to 5 years. And there's been some people saying that the timeline, 2 to 4 years. But ultimately, I'm interested at 250, but I don't think it's going to make me move. If you said to me 250 and move out in a year, I could probably consider that. But ultimately, if they're only seeing some sort of string attached, either a 10-year lease back, which I don't really want to do, or if they unreasonable move that number with a high number that I can't move my business in at the time. So ultimately, 250 and above gets me interested, but to be talking the terms, the conditions, and all the other shit around that, would dictate whether or not it makes sense to them.
That's perfectly fine. I appreciate the transparency. Thank you. And just to be clear, if I had, because it sounds like to me you really don't want to lease it back for that long. It's actually preferred that if you got a number that made sense to you price wise, you prefer to do a very short term lease back.
Well, perhaps. It just seems like the red tape and the strings attached are like, all right, you want 275 a square foot, then we're gonna charge you 1850 a square foot for rent. So ultimately, the higher the number I get, the more I'm paying back in rent, which is something I'm not really interested in doing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I am open to a longer term lease if my business, it makes sense, but I also can consider moving my business. The number doesn't work. So
yeah,
if it was north of 250 and it gave me a 1 to 2 year runway to move my business, that probably makes sense for me. But not if there's strings attached forever saying you got to rent out for 10 years or more.
Got it. Okay. No, that makes a lot more sense to me.
5-year option, or multiple 5-year options. I'm open to that, but not if it's most people with a 2-year lease on their private equity side, want things, 175 a square foot like you guys offered on Monday.
I mean, what do you feel like is a comfortable amount of rent that you feel like you can make sense of, where you feel like that's appropriate?
Well, right now I'm paying myself $12 a square foot gross.
Okay, got it. 12 times the 100.
Based off of what cap rates and these private equity guys and the cost of money to look at.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, that putting it at 250 a foot at your price per square foot that you're paying yourself, and you said that the solar panels are bringing in like 20,000 a month.
It's like 210,000 a year.
210 a year. Got it. Okay. So you're paying yourself the 12. Let's just say, let me see what your taxes are here. 1 second. 200 a year.
195 in taxes.
Yeah. I mean, like if you paid like 12, like it's 12 or 10 triple net. I'm just trying to come into a range where so we can start calculating numbers to see how close to that range we can get. Is that even reasonable for you? Because I obviously don't want to just tell you 16. Okay.
So you don't want to keep out of those numbers. If I do a sale lease tax to somebody, then ultimately if the property trades for $25 million or more, whatever, then we're going to ultimately raise my taxes there. So it doesn't make sense for me to do that just to kind of shoot myself in the foot.
No, that makes sense. Your taxes are going to probably double at least. Yeah.
Right? So for me to say, let me pay $25 million into this, well, it doesn't make sense to me to sell that. Unless somebody said, give us a 1 or 2 year runway, and then we'll take the building over.
Okay, got it. This gives me so much more clarity, which I appreciate. And then if hypothetically, let's say I had somebody who was, let's just say somewhere in the range of like maybe 220, 225 a foot with all the terms that you wanted, right? Like a 1 to 2 year lease back at something close to what you're paying right now, with a couple options if you'd like it to extend. Is that even something you'd even remotely consider?
I would never say no to anything, but I don't see the value there because ultimately, if it's a growth route and their taxes go up and they're taking that hit, I think I could be okay with that. But if it's going to be coming through the news, that doesn't make sense because I'm going to be losing $200,000 a year and I still have, I have 13 years up in my solar panels, right?
Yeah.
That's $2.6 million I'll give up if I keep it. For me to sell it, to take money now and pay more in taxes or pay more in insurance, the insurance is the other part of it. For you to have to keep $25 million or $30 million of insurance on the building, probably doesn't make sense for me when that's another cost that I'm going to have to absorb.
Yeah.
That's absorbed by the person.
Understood.
225 makes sense for me based off on the carpentry house.
Yeah, like understood. Like basically, like if you can make sense of paying like the same $12 gross, the price is a little bit. You can be a little bit more flexible on the price as long as you're keeping your cost around the same.
Correct. With insurances and with real estate taxes and with, if somebody said, yes, we want to buy it and it makes sense and here's what we want to do and how to do it, I think that could be something I could consider, but I'm not saying yes to it.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Cause and I'm just curious again, just tossing the ideas here. So because I think for sure, based on at least the conversations I had, we probably could be somewhere in the range of 200 a foot for sure if you wanted to keep everything exactly the same. You could pay $12 gross. We would take care of the client would take care of the taxes, the insurance. Obviously, you'd probably just pay your own utilities, I'm imagining. But
That doesn't even remotely motivate.
understood. So, realistically, it's more so if we can get closer to the mid 200 a foot range, or as close to it as possible, like the 220, 225, or as close to 250 a foot as possible, with keeping your cost around the same. That's something that's remotely interesting to you.
Around the same, and around the same. Yeah, if somebody said to me, you can keep it, you can stay there for 1 to 2, you can have options to renew, but if it goes from $12 a square foot to $17.75 on year 3, it doesn't make sense to me.
No, makes that understood. I mean, would you 100% vacate in 2 years? Would you be open to that, where they could go get a new tenant, or?
I could,
Okay.
but I'd like the flexibility. And that's the thing is, I don't do well with the gun held to my head saying gotta be out in 2 years.
No, makes sense.
If I had one way where I had flexibility to renew my option or not, that's different than me saying I got to be out in 2 years, because that doesn't help. I mean, if things go well and business continues to I could stay there. It would be nice to know that I had maybe 2 years to potentially renew, maybe 2 5-year options behind it. That might make sense to me if my taxes and my operating expenses currently remain the same. But again, you're gonna have these guys that are pinching pennies and counting beans all day long. That doesn't make sense to them.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
And from my perspective, I have a 4% mortgage on my building, so it doesn't really make sense for me to sell either.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. You're sitting pretty right now. I get it.
If somebody's interested, if you said to me my operating costs and my insurance would be picked up by the buyer, then I understand that whatever $12 a square foot right now, I'm paying myself $1.2 million, so whatever that comes out to, $1.2 million divided by 100,000 square feet.
Yeah, it's if
there was some sort of marginal increase over the next couple of years, I think I'm okay with that, but not with 12 going to 17 or 18.
That makes sense. Okay, well, look, I thank you so much for the transparency. Let me talk to our client. And again, if we can get something in writing that the terms seem relatively reasonable to what we've talked about today, we'll put it in front of you. All right?
All right, thanks.
Thanks so much, Jeremy. Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you, Jeremy.
This is also why it's we need to have more transparency. Just the idea of selling, I like to just talk things out. I like to put numbers in front of them. I like to give them starter offers, right? It's that process, and being able to, kind of be nimble throughout the process, in the conversation allows you to kind of understand, are we moving forward or are we not? This might be a little difficult, but we'll find out.